Hey, yo, good evening, viewers of the tube. My name is Tyler, and welcome to the channel that brings you the content you will only see right here. We don't read the news articles and don't pretend to know TA. We dig deep and find out what's really going on in the crypto space. So get ready for that OG content because it's time for Chico Crypto. Bitcoin, it's a breakaway from fiat into a decentralized paradigm where your value is secured, transferred, and stored through computer code and a network of miners and nodes. The most dominant fiat currency in the world is the US dollar, which is a global reserve currency. Exactly what Bitcoin is puts it head to head with the reserve currency of the world. But Bitcoin isn't the only currency at war with the US dollar. Nation states that are US adversaries have had to play by the rules of the United States because of the primacy of the dollar. For decades now, these nation states and their currencies have been trying to evade and undermine the US. But there has been no way to conduct significant international commerce without moving through the pipes of the US-led global financial system. But within the last couple of years, new pipelines are being built through blockchain technology. And this is a known threat to the US government. Let's just hear what Representative Sherman had to say when he called Congress for a bill to ban cryptocurrencies.
I look for colleagues to join with me in introducing a bill to outlaw cryptocurrency purchases by Americans so that we nip this in the bud. In part because not an awful lot of our international power comes from the fact that the dollar is the standard unit of international finance and transactions. Clearing through the New York Fed is critical for major oil and other transactions. And it is the announced purpose of the supporters of cryptocurrency to take that power away from us, to put us in a position where the most significant sanctions we have on Iran, for example, would become irrelevant. So whether it is to disempower our foreign policy, our tax collection enforcement, or our traditional law enforcement, the purposes of cryptocurrency, the advantage it has over sovereign currency is solely to aid in the disempowerment of the United States and the rule of law.
The United States is getting backed into a corner, and countries are now realizing they can build alternatives for transferring monetary value, especially ones who have faced sanctions from the United States, like Venezuela, Iran, Russia, and China. So today I would like to dig into what these nation states are conjuring behind the scenes in regards to crypto and blockchain technology to escape the grip of the US dollar. I would like to thank Yaya J and Trevor Logan for a lot of the information I found on this subject, as they wrote a great research paper called Crypto Rogues, US State Adversaries Sinking Blockchain Sanctions Resistance. I've added the paper in the description if you'd like to check it out. First, I would like to see what happened in Venezuela when their president actually launched their own cryptocurrency, the Petro. Venezuela had been facing US sanctions for corruption and human rights abuses and had been experiencing hyperinflation due to toxic economic policies. President Nicolas Maduro, to remedy this, announced the Petro during a television broadcast in early December 2017.
The Petro. I'm going to call it the Petro, Venezuela's own cryptocurrency. It will boost Venezuela's economic sovereignty and help defeat the economic blockade against us.
The Petro would supposedly be backed by the country's oil, gas, gold, and diamond reserves. In January of 2018, the first Petro white paper was released, and it claimed the Petro would have an initial valuation of $60 per coin based on oil prices at the time. Initially, it was announced that the Petro would be on the Ethereum blockchain, but when the updated white paper came out in February of 2018, it said it would launch on the NIM blockchain, as well as the details for the pre-sale and ICO. By March, Maduro announced that the pre-sale of the cryptocurrency had raised over $5 billion, with over 186,000 certified purchases. Although the amount claimed to be raised did not match the value of the coins in circulation, so there's major doubt that these coins were even sold, and there was no data on the NIM blockchain regarding token creation. It wasn't until 6 months later that a token even came out in October, when a new white paper was released, completely revised and using an entirely different blockchain, their own, which ended up being an exact copy of Dash. They got the token out and even a functioning block explorer, but the Petro so far hasn't taken off. Maduro and the government has failed to integrate the token into any domestic fiscal operations. During 2018, they claimed many times that the Petro would be used for things like real estate, airline tickets, and tourism. None of this has panned out so far. Also, trading partners of the country have failed to integrate the token. In April of 2018, it was announced that Venezuela would purchase Russian-made heavy-duty trucks using the Petro. This never happened. And then in December of 2018, Deputy Finance Minister of Russia, Sergei Storchak, said they got acquainted with the Petro, but have not planned to use it in mutual trade. As of right now, the Petro is a failed experiment to circumvent US sanctions, and no one is using the coin, as it trades only on exchanges within Venezuela. But speaking of Russia, they may be brewing up the perfect storm in seeking an escape from the US-led global financial system. Moscow has been prioritizing blockchain technology advancement as a long-term economic and national security goal to lessen the impact of US sanctions. Back in 2017, Russia had some words at a conference where 25 countries came together in Tokyo to work on setting international standards for blockchain technology. Head of the Russian delegation, Grigory Marshalko, who works for the Russian intelligence agency, FSB, said this: "Look, the internet belongs to the Americans, but blockchain will belong to us." That same year, Vitalik Buterin met with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss how Ethereum could be used in Russian industries, and Vlad supported the idea of establishing ties with possible Russian partners. Who could these partners be? Well, the Russian Central Bank created the FinTech Association in 2017, which is a research and development association including banks, payment services, and insurance companies. Since then, they have been conducting tests with Hyperledger and Masterchain, which is an open source Ethereum-based blockchain. Then, just 6 months ago, at the end of December, the deputy head of Russia's central bank, Alexei Moiseev, said that Russia was developing and looking to introduce a single digital currency to the Eurasian Economic Union between 2020 and 2021. This is the beginning steps to them creating their own international payment system that are not tied to the US dollar like SWIFT. Moving on, then there is veteran US sanctions evader Iran, who has been facing them for the past 40 years. The Central Bank of Iran is investing in blockchain technology infrastructure. The Sharif University of Technology, with support from the central bank, established the Iran Blockchain Labs in 2017, which has become the hub for Iranian blockchain research. In late July 2018, Iran announced that it was developing its own national cryptocurrency to offset the impact of impending US financial sanctions. Then, just a month later, the Central Bank of Iran announced it would issue Iran's sovereign crypto token, and it would launch in 2 phases. First, as an interbank payment system, and then second, to be used for retail payments. But as of today, the state-backed crypto hasn't seen its launch date. Finally, I would like to dive into what China is developing. Because of all the US adversaries, they are best positioned to develop a digital currency infrastructure that could one day compete with the dollar-based financial system. We all know it's China's goal to displace the US dollar as the global reserve currency, but the illiquidity of their currency makes it an unattractive replacement. A digitized Chinese currency that was more easily acquired, held, and spent across borders would be very useful to facilitate trade with nations and companies involved in the multi-billion-dollar, multi-decade One Belt, One Road initiative. Since 2014, the People's Bank of China has been developing a digital currency strategy. China has no plans of using crypto like Bitcoin, but adopt blockchain technology more broadly and issue their own digital currency that would be centrally controlled by the government. In June of 2017, the PBOC created the Digital Currency Research Group with aims of developing prototypes for a blockchain-backed digital currency. Then, just last week, on the heels of the Libra announcement, China's State Council gave the PBOC the go-ahead to officially develop the digital currency, according to Wang Xin, director of the PBOC's Research Bureau. With a large population who is already used to cashless payments, this could be launching sooner than we think. As you can see, Bitcoin has multiple entities that are fighting for a similar thing, a transformation of the standard global financial system. Although these central bank coins the countries are creating have one problem: they still have a single point of failure. That is the beauty of the Bitcoin movement. There is not a country that could be invaded or a central server that could be destroyed. That is why we will see many central bank coin experiments happen, but never take off. Because if it does and the dollar is threatened, the US will figure out a way to stomp it out, whether it be military intervention or other means. The US will not go down without a fight, and Bitcoin is the only digital currency that doesn't have anyone to fight. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.